Alright, so we've got our bath 2 here, and you know what, while I'm at it, I am going to just grab bath 1. We can maybe do them both at the same time. Copy this, bring it up here. Alright, so copy the text here, bath 1. And stretch this down, we don't need it that long. Great. And bath 2. And then we'll just go to layer 0 again. This will be our baseline. And we're just going to draw a bunch of these lines for our walls. Oops, messed up there. And I'm just making all sorts of mistakes. I'm going to try this over again. Going too fast. There. And then trim the bottoms off. And trim out the insides. And then copy them all up 120 inches because these are all 10-foot ceilings. Extend them and then trim. Alright, so there's our rooms. I grabbed this earlier from my details page, and it's pretty close to what's going to go in this bathroom. Let's mirror it though, because it does have to go the other direction. And I've got an extra line, ignore that. Okay, so I'm going to move or copy, whichever one, this over, lines up with this tub here. I'm going to actually change this to yellow, because if we leave that white, it'll be a really bright, dark color, bold color. And grab these items here, move them over. We don't have crown in the kitchen, so I'm going to take the crown off here just to keep it consistent. And center these. Also, we've got a dimension to show where that goes, so a couple ways we can actually redraw it, or we can copy. Let's just copy for now. I don't like the size of this, it's too big. This is for 1/8 inch scaled drawings, but this is going to be a 1/4 inch scale drawing, so just highlight it and go to properties, and right here is the overall dimension scale. We're just going to change that to 32. That'll make it a little smaller, make it look a little bit more to scale. Then we're going to do the countertops. So in the master bath, or the owner's bath, we're going to offset a bunch of times to create the toe kick, the countertop, the backsplash, etc. So the toe kick is always 4 inches, and then the countertop is at 36. The bottom edge of the countertop, or the where the countertop meets the cabinet, is 2 inches lower than that, so we do 34. And then the backsplash would be 4 inches higher than the countertop, which is 40 inches. So those are our 4 lines. We're going to make those yellow. So again, to reference, this is 4 inches. This next one would be 2'10", which is 34 inches. This is 36 inches. And then the top one, which is the backsplash, is 40 inches. In this one, we're going to do, again, 4 inches. But in secondary bathrooms, we'll do a 30-inch countertop, then 34 to the backsplash, and then 28 to that the underside of the countertop material. Then we know that this is 8 foot 8 inches wide, so we're going to have to add some fill pieces on the side here. Make sure this goes under the countertop, because the countertop does not have a fill piece, only the cabinets do. Alright? And this over here is 5 foot 6, so it does not need any sort of fill pieces. Start over here, and half of 5 foot 6 is 33 inches. And so we just need to put some cabinet doors in there. Oops, I forgot to grab this. This is my wall cabinet size. 24 inches by 30. We need that designation there. Erase these other items. We also need a mirror, so we're going to copy this up 1 inch, copy this over 1 inch, copy this over 1 inch, and then make the mirror 30 inches high. And then just do a quick fillet, 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 and fillet, and then make it all blue, like a light, a very thin color when it prints. A couple details they always add to the vanities is this note and a medicine cabinet and a lamp or light. Grab all these. Medicine cabinets are always 48 inches off the floor. Actually, that's incorrect. In these bathrooms, it would be 42 inches. And this again is 30 inches, and I'm matching properties just to. Let's see. You know, that looks like a really short mirror. I'm going to make it 36. In fact, I meant to make it 36 to begin with. So this would be a 64 inch by 36 inch mirror. As long as the top of the mirror is about 6 feet or more off the floor, you're okay. And we're at 5'11", so that's fine. Let's steal some information here. This is going to be too high, but that's alright, we can stretch it down. It's going to be 6 inches too high. It's kind of an odd look, I don't know what's going on there. And then we need to just, what I'm doing is I'm just eyeballing to make it look about right. Kind of like that. And then copy that over. And these are vanities, so instead of saying B for base, that's kitchen cabinets, this is going to be a V and then an S for sink, 33. Alright, that's that. And for this size vanity, we would just do one single light. So that right there is bath 2 drawn. And I know that there's plumbing on this wall, and we don't show it here, but that's okay, that's not really the purpose of this. Alright, so in this bathroom, we've got a couple fill pieces, so let's grab the fill note here. And just mirror that to the other side. Let's copy the mirror. I always like copying instead of redrawing if possible. Let's grab the medicine cabinet as well. Copy it there. That's about right. This will be, let's see, if this is 8'8", then a couple inches less would be 8'6", which is the same as 102. 102 by 36. Don't worry about the light location yet. We'll figure that out in a minute. So we have this whole wall of cabinets to figure out. We could put the vanity right on the end. You know, we could put a 30-inch vanity here, and then another 30-inch vanity here. But I'm not a big fan of standing this close to the wall. I would rather have a little cabinet first here, and then have the vanity. So let's put a 15-inch vanity here, and a 15-inch on this side. And then let's put a, let's just try, well, let's just see, if we did 30 inches, and then 30 inches, we would end up with a very skinny 12-inch something here in the middle. That's too small. Let's just move this over 3, and this over 3. So now what we're going to end up with, I'm just showing you, So we're going to have 15, and then 27, and then 18, and then 27, and then 15 again. So again, we're going to copy, and since these are 36 inches high, again, in the owner's bathrooms, we like these to be higher. as the adults are typically taller. We can copy a lot of these details here. The only thing we're going to change is the verbiage, because it's not a B, it's a V. So this VS 27, which is again vanity with a sink in it. And that looks good. Copy this over. Before I forget, I'll go ahead and add a note here as well, called there we go, 4-inch backs splash. Come on. Same thing, 4-inch backsplash. Staring at this, just looking at it, I think 36 is also too small. So let's add 6 inches and call it a 42. Just looking at it, this looks like a nicer size mirror. The other one looked too short and squat. Let's get back over here and do, this would be a vanity 15. And so we'll just copy this half. Pretty close there. And copy it over. And then we'll put something in the middle that's going to be 18 inches. And when that's the case, I kind of like to do a bank of drawers. Looks nice. And that's going to be called a D18, drawer 18. And if it's a 36-inch countertop, then we do 4 drawers, not just 3. And the exact heights of the drawers don't really matter. This is just, we're trying to make it clear to the cabinet company what's going on is all. So that looks fine. And then we want to put the lights pretty much centered over the vanities. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's the general gist of what we're doing. Alright, so now we can add a few dimensions. We're going to add this little dimension here to the medicine cabinet. So this medicine cabinet was only 3 foot 6 inches. This one was 4, because again we always make the medicine cabinet about a foot higher. Part of the reason for that is on this wall we're almost always going to have a wall plug. So we want to have a room for that wall plug to go there. Alright, so that is what we have for the bathroom vanities. Again, bathroom 1 and then bathroom 2. I'm going to pause this now, or stop this, and we'll continue with the rest of the elevations in the next video. Alright, so we are going to go figure out what else we need to draw. We've got the kitchen done, we've got the bathrooms done. What that leaves is this little mudroom here with the backpack rack and the utility room. So let's just go ahead and grab it all. Let's get it all done in one fell swoop. I'm just glancing real quick, just making sure there weren't any other elevations that we needed to draw. I'm not going to draw this commode or this water closet, just because they'll figure that out in the field. As long as we have this yellow line and the word cabinet, they'll catch that. If they get picky and want us to add it later, we'll add it. So it looks like we just have this and this. So let's just move this over. And you'll notice I'm continuing to draw these in a straight line. I won't consolidate them into a rectangle for the page layout until later. Alright, so get rid of some of these other things we've been working on. Well, look here, we have a utility room. Yeah, we could steal that. I always like to look around the drawing and see what I can steal. It saves a lot of time. So here's one utility room. Here's another utility room. If you go to your details page, the Daily Weekly Homes details page, you're going to see lots of interior details that have been drawn. One of the more important ones is this backpack rack, and that always comes with 2 details. One is the elevation, and then there's a seat detail as well that goes with it. So whenever we're grabbing that, which we'll go ahead and do right now, we want to get both of those. So we'll just copy. This is a smaller version. In case you ever had one of those little backpacks that only fit in like an 18 or 24 inch area, you'd use this little one. In this plan it looks more like this. So we're just going to copy this, control copy, and go back into our drawing. And a mess, but that's alright. Just erase all this stuff. So this backpack rack is 4 foot 4 inches, and the detail that we have is 4 foot 6 inches, and that's fine. We do not need to redraw that because this is built in the field. This is not a cabinet. This is built out of trim, so the exact width is not important. Just the fact that we show it included in the drawings is all that really matters. Alright, backpack rack is almost done. We're going to stretch this. And you know what? They have their attribute, which I don't like. I'm going to just call this backpack rack. And that way we can just stretch this yellow line out where we want it to go. It's hard to tell, but this seat detail is actually a larger scale. It's like a twice or half the scale of this, and that's okay. We don't need to notate that or anything. Just leave it just like it is. Now just erase that. Now we're going to spin the utility room around. And so we want to see if there's any way we can steal a laundry room that has a washer and a dryer and then a cabinet. So this looks like a good one to steal. Let's just grab this and move it over here. Move this down, get it out of our way. Call it utility. And so we're just going to, we have an angled wall here, which means we have to be careful how we do our cabinet. We cannot have a drawer here because the drawer would only be able to open that big. So for this far end of the cabinet, we're just going to have a door that goes all the way up the entire length. We're going to steal our baseline across here. And then we have a 10-foot ceiling, so 120 inches. Extend up. Alright. What I'm going to do, just to save time, is steal everything here on the left side, including the rod and shelf, and place it here. They give us a fair bit of liberty on how we want to design all this. So this is something that I had done on another job. And how is this going to work? You can see how if this was a rod and shelf, like for a clothes rod, the end of it would still hit into a wall that's square. If this angle was down here like this, this would not be a good design, because it's hard to make a rod and shelf butt into a 45-degree angle. You can do it, but it's not very clean. So whenever possible, try to have this angle behind this edge. So what's going to end up happening is this is called a cleat. That's the little 1x4 that everything nails into on the side, and it will end up looking kind of like that. This is on the angled wall. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to draw the cabinet in. And we have about 3.5 feet, and this is quite a bit, well, not quite a bit bigger, but it's 4 feet. So before we move that, we probably should just think about this. What would be the smartest thing to do would be to put a base cabinet here, and since this is so small, maybe just put a big piece of fill here. It's probably the cleanest way of doing this. So all I'm going to do is steal the frame of the cabinet, not the cabinet, not the interior details. And then we want to make sure we always have about 6 feet of space for the washer and dryer, and here we have 6'2". They only need about 5 feet, but that wouldn't give you any space between the washer and dryer, so we like to give a little bit of space, about 4 inches for each. So again, 6 feet is ideal. So we have a 3'6". This will go away because it's hidden behind the cabinet. See that? So that's our angled wall. We might even help them out by typing that in here. Angled wall. Like that. So they can help. That helps them visualize what's going on. And let's just draw this over here, 33 inches. And we're going to call this fill. And yes, that is a big piece of fill, but that's okay. It'll just make it a lot simpler for them to build this cabinet. They don't have to do anything funky. And then we'll grab this here. And we're going to call this base, I think it should be 33 inches, let's see. 2'9" is 33, B33. Alright, that is our utility room. Could go ahead and add a couple dimensions here, like 3 feet to this, and then 3 more feet to that. That doesn't hurt. Stretch this back over. Alright, let's save the drawing just in case. And now I think we have all the interior elevations that we need for this drawing. It's a fairly simple drawing, not a lot. Let's see, did we get a side profile? Yeah, we did, of the island. Just looking around again, seeing if we've got any. No, I think we've got it. We don't draw the insides of pantries unless there's like a cabinet inside there. That's it. So now we do have all of our interior elevations. What we can do just to figure out how they'll lay out is draw an 11 by 17 sheet, which is the size of the paper that it's being printed on. But instead of doing 11 by 17, I'll do like 15 by 10, because that takes into account the title block. So 15, 10, the title block in the margin, sorry, 15, 10. Since this is going to be at a 1/4 inch scale, we scale this 48 times. 48. That creates anything inside there will fit. And you can see that we're going to be kind of tight. So the other thing you could do as well is go here to the INT1. Oh, we're already in INT1. And double click and then zoom 1/48 XP. Or you could have gone down here and just told it to do the 1/4 inch, and you can see we are very tight, but it does fit. I got a little bit, my rectangular didn't need to be that conservative, so we erase that. And there's the kitchen and the island. It fits fine. Maybe squeeze this over just a couple inches. And then we'll just take all of this. I think we can fit it all. Let's see. Let's see if we can make it all fit. And make everything a little bit more compact. See, I'm just getting it closer and closer so that we can just do 2 rows. Let's see how that looks. Looks like it's all fitting. It's kind of hard to see with my white screen, but let me just maybe center it. No, because I got to add my stamp to it, so we'll leave a gap down here. So that's it for the interior elevations. And the next thing we would be working on would probably be the electrical plan. So that concludes the tutorial on these cabinets.